This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back, everybody. Energy is everywhere. We're energy. The chair you're sitting on is energy. The clothes you're wearing, energy, all have its different vibration. And once you start tapping into the vibration of you, beautiful things start to happen. One of the ways to do that is through Reiki. And we are going to talk with somebody who practices that and so much more, including a therapeutic massage. And as I come to learn, she runs deep in all of these modalities. So it's great to have her on here today as we talk about some of the additional benefits of Reiki that you may not have heard of. From Innovaetas in South Carolina, it is Kathryne McCracken joining us on the program. How are you doing today?
Hi, terrific, except, oh gosh, it's cold down here today, which I know you're in New York, so perspective though, but they're threatening us with snow.
It's colder here today than it was yesterday, no doubt about that. That's for sure. So I really think it's something in the on the eastern seaboard because if I understand too, Florida is going through
Yeah,
a cold spell too.
right. They're
Hmm.
predicting falling iguanas.
Yes, which is a
Yeah,
which I actually saw it when I was there.
you're kidding.
No, I was there. I think it was the end of November, beginning of December, somewhere around there, just a weekend getaway. And it was the weekend where they had record cold that went, it was 85 during the day and it was 49 at night, which
Oh God.
49 is not that bad. I wish it was 49 here in New York now.
Right.
But when you go from 85, and I saw two drop out of a tree, iguanas, and then one big one walking on the ground. He was huge and he just was walking real slow. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's a little, they get stunned like we do, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, trippy.
Ah, what do you think is your temp there in South Carolina today? What do you got?
Well, I think last I checked it was like 38 and it's supposed to get down to 25 tonight, which that's cold for us.
Mm,
Hmm.
31 here and tonight, think 21, something like that, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah, but you know what? We're over, I like to say we're pretty much over the hump. Like we're already, heading into spring. Days are getting, believe it or not, a little bit
Days are getting
longer.
longer, noticeably longer. Yeah, for
Right?
sure.
Yeah, bring that on.
Hmm.
So this whole energy thing, we've talked about it before. We've talked about Reiki as well, but we never went into the deeper effects of Reiki healing.
Mm.
And this is actually on your website. And some of the things that are there, I didn't realize. Balances energy. Okay, I got that.
Hmm.
Um, Heals holistically, for sure. Clears out all the stuck energy, right? Um, Amplifies your energy. Wasn't aware of
Hmm.
that. Reduces stress. I didn't think of it, but I guess that if you have a feeling of you feel lighter, you feel just more positive, I guess it's maybe you're reducing the stress, and that's why those feelings present. Emotional release. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Increases creativity. Never even thought of that, but you know what? I didn't pay attention to it last time I had Reiki, so maybe that was actually going on there. What else
Mhm.
are we thinking here that Reiki can help in terms of the effects?
Well, the releases stress. A lot of Reiki practitioners and Reiki masters talk about the Reiki sigh. And usually we experience it as little as 5 to 10 minutes into a session. And it basically is where the client will just and that is the first step into the parasympathetic state because our autonomic nervous system, which is the nervous system that manages all the stuff that we don't usually think about, autonomic or automatic, if you think of it that way, and that creates the fight or flight, which is the sympathetic state, and the parasympathetic state is, we call it the rest and digest because when you're in that stress, that sympathetic state, then your heart's beating faster, you're breathing more shallow, you're getting ready to run away from that saber-toothed tiger that's in the bushes behind you. But when you're in the parasympathetic, the stress is released because you're not worried about anything. That is when your body goes into self-healing mode. And so, yeah, I mean, it most definitely reduces stress literally by resetting the nervous system. And the nervous system is the granddaddy of them all. He's up there telling everybody else in the body what to do. So, yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I do recall during a Reiki session having that feeling of, like I'm finally relaxing. But
Hmm.
it's more than just relaxing. And by the way, thank you for the explanation of sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic. I always get them confused. I never will again because I'm going to remember this way. Sympathetic, where you're running from the tiger, you're all stressed out and everything.
Hmm.
Those are the people we need to give sympathy to, as in
I like that.
sympathetic. So
Hmm.
I'm not gonna forget it after that.
Hmm.
What about some of the other things that people experience after Reiki?
Well, the other thing is I was going to say going on to the reducing stress and moving into the parasympathetic state. So it's kind of funny because so 5 to 10 minutes in, you usually get that Reiki sigh. And then maybe 5 to 10 minutes after that, their tummy starts gurgling. So their digestion is starting to act up. So they're really moving into the parasympathetic state. So
Wow.
I educate my students about, if your client's tummy starts gurgling, you got them. They're in that parasympathetic state. They're super relaxed and really enjoying the session. And then their body is moving into that self-healing state. So it's pretty awesome.
It really is because we're talking few minutes or so.
Yeah. Hmm.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. When you
Um,
shut off all the crap that's surrounding you all day, every day,
yeah,
and you just zero in, and it's not, some people are like, well, I don't want to be selfish like that. It is better to give than to receive. The Reiki precepts are just for today, I will not anger. Just for today, I will not worry. Just for today, I will do my work with honor. Just for today, I will honor all living things. Just for today, I will treat people with kindness. And my school actually added a sixth, and it's just for today, I will be as kind to myself as I am to others. And that's the hardest one.
how funny you say that because I don't know if I ever shared this, but I do a radio show. I've been doing radio forever, literally since I was a kid. And I'm on a station here in New York. I play music every single day. And I end every broadcast with be kind to yourself and others.
No, wow. Yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Wow. Because we're not kind to ourselves.
No.
You could
Mm-mm.
be this, nicest person, people around you, you hold doors for people, you say hi, you say thank you, positive comments you might pass, you just getting a cup of coffee, whatever it might be. But on the flip side of that, you might be beating yourself up, looking in the mirror, look at this, I look horrible today, blah, 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 blah. Um, why do we do that? Why can't we just embrace each other and run with it?
I really think it goes back to, and this was again, my Reiki teacher said this, and I thought, bing, light bulb, because how much do we hear? "'Tis better to give than to receive."
Sure.
Somebody
Mm.
better be doing that receiving. And don't you love it when somebody asks you for help? But why don't we ask for help?
Because we don't want to be a burden. And
Right?
we think about Well, essentially, we think about ourselves because we're thinking that we are burdening the other person. But the reality is, people want to help. It makes
Hmm.
them feel good, but we
Hmm.
don't look at it that way. We have guilt. I think that a lot of it just comes back to guilt. Why should I
Mm.
take care of myself? I'm wired to take care of others, my family, etc. I don't want to put anybody out or be in imposition, so I'm not going to ask for
Mhm.
help. I'm going to try and move that dresser by myself. I think a lot of it is guilt.
Uh, Good point. Yeah. Never thought of
Hmm.
it from that perspective. So yeah, yeah, guilt and again, well, I'm not, it took me a while to just say, it's okay to ask for help
Yeah,
and people like helping you.
yeah,
I've never had anybody say it with if it's in reason, and you don't go up to somebody and go, "Hey, you had an extra $10,000 lying around?" But,
right, right.
can you meet me for coffee so we can talk? Sometimes that's the help that you're asking for is just camaraderie, community, companionship.
Yeah, just a connection. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's if it challenges you to ask for help, maybe think about it a little bit deeper to make sure, don't want to overdo the helping thing, asking.
Hmm.
But maybe just process it. You know what? I'm always there for them. Why not ask them for help? And on the flip side, if somebody asks you for help, here we go with boundaries. If you genuinely can't do it, or it's just not aligning with you or your purpose,
Yeah.
also okay to say no. That's all right.
Always okay to say no. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
And no excuse needed. So many of
Right.
us, I think from our upbringing, we feel once again guilty. So yeah, no, I can't help you. Because I no, if you just say,
Right.
no, I'd love to, but I can't.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then that's it. That's all you need to
Yeah.
say. You know,
Right.
they'll move on to
Hmm.
somebody else. It's all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm.
What would you think would surprise us about this thing called energy in your study, observations, experience, maybe some things that we might not be truly aware of when it comes to energy and people?
I think energy entrainment is a really interesting one. How we connect with others or don't connect with others. How, you could just be with somebody's energy and go, I like you. I want to get to know you better. Or you could be walking past somebody and cross the street to get away from them. And it's just that energy entrainment. And the best example, and so we were talking about everything is energy. Literally everything is energy. Every atom has an energetic charge.
Hmm.
And the way the electrons and the covalent and the bonds and all that stuff work, and our body has chemical reactions going on constantly, like hundreds of millions per second. Even I'm pulling that number out of nowhere, but constantly. It's a chemical reaction that's making my muscles move, that's making me be able to speak. So it's all chemical, which is energy because chemically they have a polarity. And the
Hmm.
interesting thing is when two things are super diverse and they merge, the coolest example I've ever seen of energy entrainment was, I want to say November 7th, 1940. There was a bridge in Tacoma, a brand new bridge, and the wind matched the frequency of the bridge. So this cement suspension bridge was waving in the wind like this and eventually collapsed. That's vibrational frequency entrainment. When something so diverse, cement and wind, come together, and the wind can influence that.
I'm processing that right now.
Uh-huh.
How how was it proven that the wind matched the energy of the bridge?
There's video of it. There's absolutely nothing that would have caused that bridge to move like that.
Am I safe to assume that it wasn't super gusty wind? Maybe it was kind of substantial, but not nearly enough to take that bridge down. But because of the frequency of the wind, or was it the frequency of the wind blowing through the bridge created the vibration that was the same as the bridge? Mhm.
Exactly. Yeah, the frequency of the wind, it hit the same vibration as the bridge.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And that also speaks to the empty spaces within ourselves and within our atoms.
How do you mean?
Well, my science classes and all that stuff, they always said that if a cell were the size of a stadium, the nucleus would be about the size of a grain of rice. There's that much empty space within our cells.
And
And
is
that's
there?
usually fluids. And the fluids, again, we've talked about how water has a vibrational frequency and
Sure.
conducts electricity.
Yep.
Hmm.
So I've heard recently that when your vibration goes up, whatever means you do to take your vibration up, which is a beautiful thing, it's perfect, it's where you want to be, higher vibration, that things that are challenging can sometimes present themselves because
Hmm.
you raise the vibration. Now these pieces of you start falling away. Sometimes you might have to deal with that, or you weren't aware of them, but they kind of show up where you might be taking the steps to raise your vibration. Obviously, hey, this is gonna be great. Everything's great. Yeah, oh, fantastic. And then, oh, why am I dealing with that? Oh, look at that right there. Have you ever heard anything like that? And I think it's also connected to DNA activation.
That's one theory, but no, I've experienced that quite a bit. I have seen a lot of my students. Some Reiki schools, they'll teach the classes in rapid succession. When I do it, I want you to wait a month between level one and level two, and at least 6 months before you do level three,
Hmm.
because you need to acclimate to that new energy, because that which no longer serves you is going to fall away. And it doesn't usually fall away, shall we say, nicely. It kind of tries to hang on. Like
Hmm.
the people that are the negative influences in your life, they don't understand. They don't like the new you because they fear it because you've changed. You're no longer within the box that they put you in.
Yep. Totally true. And it's maybe it's that time where you need to do a little housekeeping and maybe
Yeah.
realize that maybe they don't belong in your life anymore or not in the same capacity. Maybe it's their, different kind of
Hmm.
support system at that point. Um,
Yeah.
hmm.
Yeah. So they've come through some tough stuff, some of my students, but oh my God, now so many of them, they're happily married and kids and family and they were in abusive relationships before and now they're healed and just doing great.
Wow. So
Yeah.
and these are these people that were trained for Reiki or just people that you treated?
No, people that were in my Reiki class.
Really?
So
Wow.
even with just level one. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So just by learning Reiki, they're helping others or can,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
also at the same time they're helping themselves.
Absolutely. One of the cool things about Reiki, hey, it's unlimited. It's unlimited life force power. It's unlimited energy. And the really cool thing is, as a Reiki practitioner, the Reiki flows through you. You are a conduit of the Reiki, and that Reiki will go and heal you while it's going through. It's not like you're short stopping and stealing it before it's unlimited. You get as much as you need when you're trading. The client gets as much as they need.
What have you personally felt when doing Reiki for someone?
Well, I think the really one of the most wonderful ones was one of my first treatments. I'd just done level one and two, and it was a woman who had been just diagnosed with breast cancer. And it was so quick, she didn't have time to process the diagnosis. I mean, like it was diagnosed on Tuesday and you're getting mastectomy on Friday. So zero time to even process what was going on. So shortly thereafter, she came in for a massage. I'm like, we can't do a massage. It's way too soon after the surgery. So I treated her with Reiki and I just sat at the head of the table and it was like the right side of her body had no energy, and that was where the trauma was. And so as I was sitting there, I felt some spirits come in, and they lined up on the right side of the table, and they just felt benevolent. And so I just, okay. And so I just stayed at the head of the table. I treated her, and they got up and left. And then I said, okay, our session is done. And when she opened the door, she was sobbing. And she says, that is the first time I have been able to release the trauma of what happened to me. The first time that she had been able to process it. And she says, I feel like I'm in my body again. I feel balanced. I can feel the right side of my body again. And I asked her and I said, well, what do what do you do? And she says, I'm a home health care provider and I care for people up until they go into hospice. And I said, and you've had 7 people? And she said, yes. I said, they're here with you. They're part of your healing team because that was how many came in to be with us.
When you say came in to be with us during the session,
Hmm.
how'd you know that?
I could see them. I could just see that it basically when I see them, I don't see them like I see you and me. I see kind of an energy. a humanoid energy outline.
Wow, I was not aware of this, that you could do that. Mm.
Yeah.
If you're
Yeah. And
getting it,
I
if you're
mean, part
getting
of the reason I
anything,
love living in the South is I do a lot of ghost hunting.
if you get anything on me, you have full permission to provide it. I have no filter, no hide nothing. Um, do you think there's a possibility with the woman that had breast cancer that maybe that that disease developed because of some traumas in the past?
Yes. Yeah.
And that's
Hmm.
not to factor out environmental factors, lifestyle, things like that. I live on Long Island, where our breast cancer rate is like, is like 1 in 8. It's quite high. There's areas where, it has been identified where things have been done to the water is bad. I had a close friend who died barely 40 years old a couple of years ago, and she's convinced that it was the water where she grew up. But if you factored all that out, could it be the traumas that we've dealt with, and then now you add all the other stuff, perfect combination for some kind of disease?
Oh, absolutely. I've often heard it said that genetics loads the gun, but lifestyle and environment and stress pulls the trigger.
Mm, wow.
Yeah.
And as I dig deeper into this, they always back in the day used to talk about genetics. Oh yeah, well it's in your family, blah 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 blah. If you look at the actual number where genetics play a role, I don't know the exact figure, but I believe if I memory serves me right, like 7% or less, 4 or
Mhm.
5%. It's not a higher number. Yes, it can vary depending on who you are and what we're talking about, but it's not these big numbers that everybody puts all this. Oh my mom had it, so I'm gonna get it. No,
Right.
no, doesn't
Yeah.
doesn't work that way. And I don't know why that was instilled in us, that genetics play a huge role in all of this.
There is, a certain aspect to it. We did discuss that in one of my classes in the aging program at University of Florida School of Medicine. They're thinking it's roughly between 20 and 25% is the influence that genetic.
Really? That's higher than I thought that would be the number, but then I
Mhm.
looked, I'm starting to see lower numbers. I don't know,
Yeah. Yeah,
interesting.
and they're dialing it down too, because let's face it, our world has changed. Good God, has our world changed from, I mean, I remember going over to Grandma's house and they had the console TV with 3 channels and yeah, no remote control kind of thing?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's so many. Isn't it interesting if you went back 100 and something years ago that we didn't have the medical technology, we didn't have all of those advancements, but we had pure food. Now we have all
Yeah.
those advancements. Everything's great. We can detect things, and that's great. It's prolonged our longevity, but we're eating poison. We're eating pesticides. There's pretty much in everything that we eat, and
We're
plastic too.
killing ourselves with convenience. Yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was a little girl, I want to say like third grade or fifth grade science project, and it was so cool. What she did was she had 2 identical plants, and she would boil water and let it cool to a certain temperature, and then she would microwave water and let it cool to a certain temperature. The water that was boiled, the plant survived. The water that was microwaved, the plant died.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm.
And this was just like a little fifth grade science project that went viral. It was so cool. I was like, yeah, microwaves are not that great for you, but they sure are convenient.
I've heard things like that, and I and
Mm,
I honestly toss them out of my head. And
I
even
know. I know.
even for breakfast, I microwaved something and I put it on a plastic plate or some cardboard derivative plate. And in my mind, I'm like, you got that food literally touching it. It's probably not a good idea. One more time's not going to be
I
a
know.
problem.
Yeah.
And, press the button and be done. Um, but if you take the measure just to grab an actual plate instead of the, plastic, cardboard, whatever it is, might be a better thing. Might be a better
Yeah.
thing. Wow. Mm. There are some people that won't even use a microwave. It's not even in their house
Right.
for those
Yeah.
reasons.
Yeah.
Crazy. I just looked at the time. We're out of time. That's crazy.
Oh man.
Yeah, seriously, like it just got flies right by. Great insight, validation too, for me, and I'm sure for a lot of others when it comes to energy. Innovaetas is the name of your practice and your website. Can you spell that for us, please?
Innovaetas.
Beautiful. You're available to do Reiki virtually. Obviously, if it's massage therapy, it's got to be in person there in South
Hmm.
Carolina. And some of the other modalities you can also do virtually too, right?
Sure, sure.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
If you have a question, a comment, or anything, you can also reach out, instantfeedbacksteve@gmail.com. Kathryne, thank you for today. Always learning. This is a journey. It's kind of exciting learning about this stuff that's been around forever, but
Yeah.
knowing how it truly supports us, I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll talk soon. We'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.